What do you mean, like a paw problem or something?
I don't know, some sort of issue.
Friends, our little studio house cat, Mousy, might have a medical issue.
Yep.
So we're starting that day on a somber note.
I don't know what to say a somber note, but we'll figure out what's wrong with him.
It's rainy.
That's not what's wrong with him.
Hey, welcome to the Why Aren't You Famous podcast.
That's right.
With me, Ellen Cherry, and
me, Andrew Grimm.
Good morning, Mr. Grimm.
Good morning, Miss Cherry.
Been working on my enemies list.
Yeah, I know.
Been working on it, filling it up.
I've been hearing all about it.
Filling it
I'm really
up.
excited.
Filling it up.
You can hear the joy and excitement in my voice.
I can see it in your face.
Wow.
Barely, because it's covered with hair.
Well, that's because I got a beard.
I saw a picture of us last night where you only had like a quarter of that much facial hair from 13 years ago. Oh my
Was that 13
God.
years? Was that 13 years ago?
2005 is when we did that tour.
Yeah, that was March of 2005.
And for some reason I had dyed black hair.
Yeah, you were all goth girl.
Not really.
You had a white rat on your shoulder. And you had pancake makeup on.
There's a picture of us outside of a barbecue joint in Birmingham.
Dreamland Barbecue.
And I was, for some reason, inexplicably a vegetarian for those couple of years.
That was a bad move.
I know.
Really bad move. And from Texas. A vegetarian from Texas.
What? It's just sacrilege. So I was looking at that picture because I was going through some old photos last night and
reliving the past.
Reliving them. I love to live in the past. That's what I love.
I know. It's a playground. It's a veritable playground.
That's why
wonder.
I'm in a program, man. I'm in a program to start living in the present. So I'm in the program. I'm living in the present. But it's nice to think about the past because I have pleasant memories of that tour, and we're going on tour again.
Yes, in March.
In a matter of weeks.
13 years later.
Yes, finally we're touring again. No, we tour together like once a year.
Something like that.
Something like that, except for when I was all messed up because of the car wreck.
Yeah. I mean, it's like me all the time.
God, how annoying.
I hurt my shoulder and
I was
blah,
hit
blah,
by a drunk
blah.
driver at 100 miles an hour. So
I
sad.
have PTSD. Please, sister, tell me what would the D stand for? Please, sister.
Well, PTSD you're skipping. Please, the sister.
You're right.
Please tell sister.
Post-traumatic. Oh, please tell sister. No, whatever.
Let's not make fun of it because it's kind of a serious condition.
It is a serious condition. Absolutely.
Anyway, in this picture I was noticing last night, I was like, man, I miss those boots. I miss that whole outfit. I don't have that outfit anymore. But I should have been wearing a bra. That shirt really requires a bra. I was like, oh no, past Ellen Cherry. But I've learned my lesson, and now I am,
You're wearing a bra all the time.
I wear a bra all the time now. So we can make progress in our lives.
We certainly can.
Small steps.
Yep, small steps and small and bras stuff. Lots of bras. Small steps, lots of bras, and some boots.
And less facial hair.
Yes.
I think you should shave for this tour.
I am not shaving until that dipshit is out of the office.
What? We gotta wait that long to
This
see
is my
your
protest
face?
beard. It's my protest beard. I started growing it on November 8th.
Really? Mm-hmm. It should be longer. You've been trimming it.
I've been trimming it, of course.
Yeah, for the ladies.
Oh my god.
I've been trimming it for the ladies because, gentlemen, let's be honest. I love all kinds of faces. Male, female, everywhere in between. And facial hair, I've got some definitely coming down the pike towards my own face, so I'm never going to denigrate it. But like sometimes the unkempt, my personal opinion is that a neatly trimmed beard of moderate length is better than the scraggly
hobo beard.
Nasty looking, has food in it, and also like when your mustache is covering your lips like a crazy eyebrow thing going on, then it's too long. You need to like spend some time with it.
Spend some time with it.
Yeah, like some little scissors.
Little scissors.
Yeah, so you're doing good. It looks good.
Well, thank you. I've been working hard on it.
Okay. So speaking of how amazing you look today.
Oh, yes.
Self-worth.
Self-worth. Let me tell you what.
Is our topic.
Yeah. What does that mean, self-worth? What is it?
I looked it up.
Did you really? You didn't.
I looked up the word self-worth.
Why?
Because
well, you have 1,000 self-help books anyhow at your house.
Not 1,000. I probably say 12.
Well, they're all like self-help sex books. The female orgasm, and then the female orgasm.
The title of that book is I Heart Female Orgasm.
Right.
I'm just interested in the topic. It's no big shakes. When you're interested in something, you study it. You study it, man. You get into it. You're like, I'm into that topic. I want to learn about it. It's cool. People have studied it. Can you imagine getting your PhD in that? Like how much fun that would be?
I suppose. I don't know.
I don't have 1,000 books about that. I just have like
998.
15,
yeah.
So I looked it up. The definition of self-worth.
Self-worth.
Includes the words self-esteem and self-respect.
Ooh.
So respect for self.
How about that?
Yeah. So I thought it was a really interesting topic to talk about. It didn't inspire me to... I think one of my issues with writing these essays and bringing them to the table is that I tend to write them just about the topic and not necessarily on the topic as it relates to fame or famousness.
Well, and I've kind of shifted my way from talking about how the topic relates to fame to just talking about the topic, because the conversation...
I just said that.
I know. Well, but I started off by always doing the fame thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of shifting away from that because it's
good. We can shift away from
well,
that.
they're also shorter essays then.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm lazy. It's because it's like, well, I'm trying to be succinct. And writing about fame and then that thing is...
Could it be because also... Oh, wait, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I was about to womansplain something to you.
I'm used to it. Go ahead.
Could it be that the topic has become...
Baseplane.
I'm baseplaining it to you, Bay. Could it be that the topic has become that uninteresting to us now that we've discussed it for several episodes and thought about it?
I am thoroughly not interested in fame at all.
Yeah.
I'm
and it goes back
out.
to our original premise that I am not interested in it and you think it's irrelevant.
I think it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yes. My original hypothesis is actually ringing pretty true.
Yeah. So like that's kind of interesting that we are naturally getting to the point where we want to just talk more about like things that we're interested in.
Right. The female orgasm.
Yes, who isn't?
Well, I had a conversation last night with Andy Bopp about
the female orgasm.
orgasm. Yeah.
I know.
He had many points about this whole thing.
All the girls I get together when we're singing to our hairbrushes at night and during our summer parties, we are totally like, I hope the guys are talking about this too.
Yeah, I don't.
So I'm pleased to know that you guys are discussing it.
Yeah.
The mysteries.
Well, we're talking about self-worth, and not self-worth, I guess, necessarily as much, but we're talking about like, it's one of the many conversations that we've had about, well, what are you doing? What are you doing next year? Like, what is it going to look like? Or like, he's just going to put out a couple singles next year. And all he did out this year was put out 2 singles. He put out that Running Up the Hill and Running Up That Hill.
He got radio play for it.
Yeah, he got the local play, and then also Shadow, which we featured here on our podcast, which is probably what helped bump him up in the rankings at WTMD.
I love how supporting all these other musicians totally benefits me. Not at all.
Well,
I do it
that
out of
betrays your altruistic nature.
Yes, it does betray it.
Yes.
Portrays it, not betrays it.
Yes. It turns you into like a Darth Nader.
I am Darth Nader.
So the
Ralph.
Oh, Ralph. We hardly knew ye. But I was thinking, like, when we're talking about it, it's kind of like, it's not like exactly like we're trying to convince ourselves that, hey, keep going. But there's this kind of like rallying cry of independent loser musicians who are just, and I say loser just in terms of self-deprecation or whatever, but, because it's just like, well, I don't know. Every album's a comeback album. Every show's a reunion show. It's like, I don't know how long this is going to last or how long I can sustain, my lavish lifestyle. my condor egg omelets I eat every day. My platinum plated cats. I just got them new fronts. They're so awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, diamond studded. Here, Mig's gonna jump over. He's thinking.
No, don't. Oh, he wants my scarf.
He's being conservative.
Don't get him my scarf, man.
Yeah, no, that's all good. So anyhow, self-worth. Do you have any self-worth, Ellen Cherry? Do you respect yourself?
I am working on it.
I'm working on it.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it.
Because I think outwardly it probably appears that I do because I bathe, I dress myself,
You don't wear pajamas to the grocery store?
I don't. I comport my face in a friendly manner when I see people on the street. Mm-hmm. Hi, Mick. He's on the table.
Yep.
Hey.
He's here checking it all out.
So I feel like I do have self-respect that way. In terms of it extending to...
Oh, you should pet him. He's so fluffy right now.
He is fluffy.
Oh, my goodness.
In terms of how it extends to my artistic practice, I definitely feel like I have not been respecting myself there as much as I want to.
You've been selling out.
No, I just haven't been dedicating time to it. You
sure.
know, like I haven't been dedicating the amount of energy and time that really I deserve to do that. Primarily because it makes me feel really happy and makes me, it's one of those, like, it's just like swimming for me when I sing a note correctly and find a great lyric. It's one of those things where I'm just like, it's very powerful.
Sure.
So I definitely am on a path, I think, specifically now to investigate like the reasons why that has been for the last couple of years that I haven't respected that, you know, and allotted enough time and energy and personal resources towards it. And that fills me with like, not excitement, but just like more confidence, you know,
Sure,
just like,
sure.
wow, this is what it feels like to actually be like, no, this is to be protected and at all costs in a way that I felt really, probably not for about 10 years.
Right.
So, and you know, working together has been part of that.
What too?
Other people besides you. I'm taking a picture of you.
Oh, me and the cat?
Yeah.
Me and old Mig. Mig, smile for the camera.
Okay. Anyway, back to us.
Uh-huh.
Don't stop talking.
No, of course I will not stop talking. A picture was taken in that dead silence there, ladies and gentlemen.
So what about you? Do you have self-worth?
I totally do. I'm proud of my self-worth.
I'm just blowing all the cat hair your way.
Thank you.
Away from my coffee cup.
Right.
No, don't throw it.
Actually, I was throwing cat hair. That's amazing. Anyhow, yeah, no, I totally have self-worth. Like, I've been thinking about, you know, I mean, the shows that I choose to book, the fact that you keep going back and writing records and writing songs, and it's like, okay, these are the choices that I'm making, and committing to, you know, the plan I've created and I've executed. Yeah. That's always about self-worth. And then at the same time, it's like, you know, how you handle criticism, and which, you know, you and I do not really get a whole lot of. The criticism that we get is the non-criticism.
Silence.
The silence. And it's like, okay, well,
it's pretty loud. It's pretty loud criticism.
Yeah, it was funny. I had a conversation in my conversation with Andy last night about that. We were talking about, you know, I'm trying to arrange some details and stuff, and I haven't about some things coming up, and I haven't heard anything back. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, you know what, screw it. I'm you know what, I've gotten. It's not that I'm on a level where like people should be calling me, but I'm just tired of non-response. So I'm like, if I don't hear anything back, I'll send a follow-up message, because that's protocol and courtesy and all this other stuff. It's like, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but I'm trying to do XYZ, and I'll give them another day or two. And after that, I'm like, okay, screw you. I'm going to move on. Yeah. And you're dead to me. And, you know, I had some.
That's kind of the principle, like, he's just not that into you.
You know what? You're not interested.
Yeah.
Like the record.
And people are like, no, I'm so busy, but really, they're not busy for the things that they're interested in.
No.
You know.
And I'm okay with that. Like if you listen to my record and you don't think it doesn't, you're like, wow, that's really good. Yeah. And you don't want to deal with it. Okay, that's good. I mean, it would be nice if you sent me an email saying I sucked. Yeah. Or you're not interested, or you don't think it's a good fit. That would be nice. Yeah. But the non-response is like, okay, you didn't dig it, and we don't have a relationship.
Well, there's a way to reject somebody without like a nice rejection. I've gotten like 2 rejection letters over the last year. One for a teaching job that was like the nicest rejection letter. Like I had done the job 1 year, and they were like, we're not going to ask you back for the next year. But it was like it's just not a good fit. And I was like, I agree with you, like totally. But I wrote back to the administrator and was just like, thanks for this really nice note, and I appreciate the opportunity that we had together, but I appreciate also your honesty. So that was really nice. And then I got, I auditioned for a band a couple weeks ago, a big band, and I didn't get it because I don't sing the way that they need. Right. And the way that he phrased it was exactly like that. He was just like, you have a lovely voice. I think you're a great person. I love your CD, but it's not what I'm looking for. Right. And it was so nicely worded that I was just like, oh yeah, I feel the same way, but I'm glad that you said it, because then that way I don't have any guilt about like, I think it would take a lot of work to make me work with your outfit. So like,
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, hearing back from somebody about the no is totally fine. Everybody who's listening, it's okay to say no.
Totally cool.
Yeah. Hey, it's so funny. What does your hat say? USCSS
Nostromo. Yes.
180286. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Because when I looked at your hat, I thought it said "Just Curious," which I think would make a hilarious baseball cap. It just said like "Just Curious."
Just curious. Yeah. No, this is the hat from the Alien movie from 1978, 79.
Is that their ship?
Weaver. Yeah, the Nostromo is the ship. And this was the hat that was worn by Harry Dean Stanton,
Oof.
who is engineer Brett,
Yeah.
who becomes the first victim.
Yeah.
Well,
Oof.
the second victim of the alien.
It was just indigestion.
Yeah.
He just ate some bad clams.
It's always bad clams.
And it exploded out through his chest.
Yep.
No big deal.
Yep.
He just died this year.
I know.
Oh.
Well, that was last year. That was 2017 he died.
Oh.
I don't think did he die in 2018?
No.
No, it was 2017.
Because 2018 is relatively new. So
Relatively new. We haven't had anything really, really awful happen yet. We just had one awful thing continuing from 2016,
Yeah,
actually.
it's not like anything awful is happening. It's just like the awful things from the last year have carried over.
Yeah. Wow.
Plus, everybody wash your hands a lot because it seems like flu's ripping.
Yeah, H2N3. Whoa.
What in the house?
It's coming
Not in the
out.
house. Not in the house.
It doesn't ask, it takes.
So should we listen
Represent.
to some? Should we listen to some essays?
Sure.
Okay.
We're going to listen to yours first.
Oh, okay, great. I think.
Oh.
Not really.
Not really.
I'm not. The one that we did about family ties, I was super confident, and the last two have been a little bit like, meh, but it's up to you. You listen to it, see what you think.
Okay, we'll find out.
Okay. The name of my record label is Wrong Size Shoes, and it was inspired by a lyric recited to me by a writing partner I had when I lived in New Orleans. He said it was one of his favorite lyrics, and it was something along the lines of, "This love hurts like shoes that don't fit." To honor my label, each time I've put out an album, I've bought myself, and usually, if I can afford it, everyone who has helped on the album, a pair of really nice shoes. Each pair that I have reminds me of the music that I wrote, the time in the recording studio with my friends, and the magic we attempted and sometimes succeeded at creating. I often find that I'm smiling when I wear these particular shoes. For many years, I carefully planned my performance outfits, experimenting with all-white suits or a sequined antique blouse that I had found at a thrift shop. I remember thinking that it was a way I could show how much I respected my audience. I made a real effort to look special because the performance was special. Before 2008, I spent much more time than I do now thinking about what I was wearing when I was on stage, because that year there was a significant shift for me in how I felt about performing. I was on tour through Texas, and for some strange reason, had started to feel a creeping and dangerous performance anxiety before my shows. It was my longest solo tour to date. I was on the road for almost 6 weeks by myself. I was tired, and I felt very far away from my adopted home in Baltimore. I remember having some really great shows and meeting other musicians and making connections like I usually did on the road, but there were also long, lonely drives by myself and plenty of time to ruminate on how little money I was making and how few people were actually at the shows I had booked. I had started to feel a real hopelessness about the choice I had made to be a full-time musician. So I found myself in Austin, stopping in to see a friend who has a store that features Texas artists, and I was waiting for her to take a break so we could chat. I was by the cash register and looking through the glass counter when I saw an antique key with a brass chain, and on a whim, I bought it. At my gig that night, I wore it for the first time and didn't feel nervous. Now, I know it's likely that it was not the key that mitigated the stage fright, but the next night at my next gig, I wore the key again, and I felt better again, and soon after, it became a ritual for me. Getting ready to perform meant putting on my key necklace. It was only then that I felt I had put the final touches on myself and was ready to present my songs to the audience, and I've worn a key in performance ever since. It may seem like such a minor thing, but that ritual started to become clearly defined to me that year in 2008, because it was also the year that I stopped performing my music with electric guitar and started focusing more on what my voice and an acoustic sound could produce for me and for my songwriting. I could feel that I was slowly releasing my grasp on styles and sounds that were simply emulations of music and musicians I admired, so that there would be space to hear my own sound, even if that sound might never lead to any bigger audiences or more money than that tour had provided. I think it was the first year that I started to get serious about music and stopped letting my writing process be such a mystery to myself. I think it was the first year that I started to respect what I had built so far and to understand the ambitions I had and the discipline and sometimes the loneliness and solitude it would require for me to realize those ambitions. I know it wasn't the key necklace itself that unlocked and opened the door to this respect of my own ideas, but I keep wearing it to remind me of the person who first put it around my neck. There's a long piano track at the end, which we can sort of just enjoy.
Okay. Yes.
Long.
Shh.
And you can.
I'm not. Hold on. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, good. Just kind of. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Whoa.
And we're out.
I'm never out.
Oh. Good to know.
All right. Yeah. Well.
I'm learning more and more about you.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. Chicks. So okay. Good essay.
Thanks.
Yeah. I always wondered where the key came from.
Yeah.
I knew that. I didn't know the story behind it.
Yeah, that's the story behind the key.
And so it's not a key. It's like a talisman.
Yes, I suppose that is
from Middle Earth. Some hairy-knuckled hobbit.
One ring to bind them, and in the darkness bind them.
To buy them, and yeah.
Yes.
Right on. Very cool.
Thanks.
So, well, and I don't think people know this about you. I knew about the show anxiety thing because you had talked about it before. And you're like, yeah, I kind of get a little nervous before. I'm like, what do you think? Because your shows are, your in between song banter and all that other stuff is very fluid, and you seem very comfortable up there. Even when you might say an awkward thing or two, it has been known to happen. But even then, like, you kind of get into your performance, and it's always good. So
yeah,
I think that's kind of surprising to understand. Like, oh, she has a little bit of stage fright going on, but the
every
key,
time
it's just crazy. But the key seems to, I don't know, balance you or whatever, or unlock the real you, or I don't know how else I'm going to go with that, but what happens if you forget the key?
It's happened before.
You have to call pop and lock.
Pop and lock. I have to pop and lock.
Yeah, wow.
Before the performance.
Right on.
I actually stopped wearing that key because it was it was like an antique desk key, and it was a little bit bigger, and I found a series of other ones, and then I wear smaller keys now.
I thought it might be like leaving a green stain on your
It
clothes.
changed color.
It changed, I'm sure it did.
Over time, for sure. I don't know. It just became like, I'm sort of slow to understand. I'm sort of a slow learner to
This is true, ladies and gentlemen.
telescope out of situations. And so, like, to see that my past self was giving my future self a way to really just, like, meditate before the show.
Sure.
Basically to say, okay, I have all my gear packed. I have this ready to go. I'm ready to step on stage, or I feel it just is a little boost of confidence. And so now I have them, like, I just always travel, like, keep one in my backpack, keep one in my purse, keep one in my, like, these key necklaces, so that if I happen to forget it when I'm packing makeup or whatever, it's there. Because it helps me. And then I started to talk about it after, like, 2010, I started to talk about it and feature it in the artwork on the cover of albums. And it's such a nice metaphor, the key and unlocking things. And I don't know, I sort of liked it.
Yeah, I wear a key. I wear a little lock. So you're not getting in here. I'm closed up.
Yours like a chastity belt.
It is. More than you know. Anyhow, whatever. But no, that's very cool.
Yeah. So do you think it relates to the topic of self-respect?
Sure, of course. Yeah. Because it's part of the like, when you link it to confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because that's the hardest part of performing. I think I mean, you can practice and practice and practice, and that's fine. But if you don't feel like you're worth anything, or if you don't feel like your words are worth anything, or you don't feel like your contribution is worth anything, then, you're not going to do it. And
in addition to doing something that is vulnerable, and that shift for me personally, to shift from covering up my strongest asset, which was my singing voice, to revealing it in a little bit more of a naked way was.
Right. Well, that's why I unbutton more of my top buttons now when I
because you want to be more vulnerable.
I'm just airing out the goods.
Just curious.
Just curious.
Just curious.
Just curious. What's in this egg? Ah.
So, when I was writing this essay yesterday, I was thinking about, well, how does it relate to fame? And I threw in this line, I placed this line in there that I did actually realize with this album that I put out in 2008 called Heart Like a Lion, that I definitely was trying to emulate something. And that's okay, because I think that that's a period of exploration that a lot of musicians go through, a lot of artists go through, where you're studying the masters, or whatever your masters are in your art form, that you're studying and emulating, and then all of a sudden you have this breakaway into your own style.
Right.
And it was very much demarcated by that year, that album, playing a big show where I didn't have a drummer and realizing the power of my voice. And so it was this huge shift. And I also was very cognizant of the fact that, like, I had been pursuing something that I thought was going to make me famous,
right.
Like a certain sound, and then to sort of abandon it, not even like abandon it, like I'm just discarding it. It was like the slow stepping away from that into realizing, like, oh, this is actually more valuable to me.
Right.
Fame and adulation for doing something that somebody else has already done is not interesting to me and not exciting and not worth pursuing. And it definitely, like, I was on a different path at that point, and that was all centered around that tour and that year. So
maybe you were just trying to find the right key to unlock your potential,
or the right key to sing in, or
correct.
All those things.
All those things.
Yeah.
But I think that's really essential to the whole idea of, like, what Joseph Campbell called the anxiety of influence. That when we emulate those types of things, or we pursue that, we have to have a starting point.
Yeah.
We don't come out, as rough geniuses. We start off by stealing from those people that we really like.
Borrowing.
Yeah, I'm okay with stealing. Well, because borrowing indicates you're going to give it back to them at some point, and that's sure as shit not going to happen. You're absorbing it. You're assimilating it. You're appropriating it. However you want to look at it, and you make it your own, and by making the process of making it own is like, well, it goes from stealing to paying homage.
Yeah.
Oh
no, don't go there. Let's listen to your essay.
Wow. You see how quickly she turned, ladies and gentlemen?
I did.
Man, she was all like happy and smile.
I don't want to.
I know women. I know women like to smile.
They love to laugh. I have a pretty good resting bitch face, and I'm proud of my RBF.
I don't know if it's always resting.
It's not. Ooh, it's active.
Snap.
Whoa! I just totally sorry. Really sorry. I actively bitch. Active.
I actively bitch face. It's a verb now. Oh, I bitch faced her.
I'm taking that word, man. That word is mine.
Okay. I'm still waiting for my pair of shoes.
Work on an album with me.
The first years I worked on that record with you.
Did you? You recorded on? You did. Oh shit! I owe you a pair of shoes. Oh shit!
Damn. That was our first tour. We were just talking about our first tour in March of 2005. Oh yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
I'll dig through because I probably bought you the shoes and they've just been sitting there for 13 years. Hopefully your feet haven't changed size.
My feet are the same size.
What size shoes do you wear?
Between 11 and a 12, depends on the shoe.
Okay, between 11 and a 12.
Yeah.
Men or women's?
Clever. I'm not talking to you anymore.
I wear an 8 in men's.
I don't. I guess in women's it would be like a 14 or 15.
11 or 12. Okay, got it.
All right. Here comes my essay.
Wee.
Hey. perfunctory search on the internet for the worth of the human body brings a wide range of search results. Some studies put the value at $4.5 million, while other sites suggest a lowly sum of $300,000. Of course, these are 2015 prices on the black market and may be subject to change based on socioeconomic factors. Anything is only worth what people are willing to pay, or what price you are willing to accept. One website broke down the approximate black market transplant pricing in a colorful anatomical chart, pricing the heart as the most expensive at $500,000. And at the lower end of the spectrum, a pint of blood could fetch a cool $300, which means there's red gold flowing through our bodies, pumped by a platinum-plated engine. Holla. However, take a step back from this deal. The indication is that someone can sell a patch of skin, a couple pints of blood, a kidney, and a cornea, but these parts are either expendable or come in pairs. In other words, you might miss them, but you'll survive. But selling your heart or your liver or your skeleton suggests that you will not be able to personally enjoy the financial windfall of your donations. Scrolling farther down my research page, I came across a second chart titled Body Parts Sold as Exhibits. Sadly, a hand is only worth $185, and a sliver of a human head, a paltry $1,500. Ugh. I guess the difference is in the purpose for selling the part. Transplants attempt to extend the longevity and improve the quality of someone's life, while exhibits display fractured, excised pieces of abused or abnormal body parts, speaking in tribute to bad habits and bad decisions. In many ways, we communicate with each other in transplanting terms. I'm giving you my heart, or let me give you a piece of my mind. Depending on the situation and the relationship, these types of emotional donations strengthen and extend the relationship with mutual admiration and respect. Some, however, just become sad trophies for private viewing at the Museum of Lonely Hearts and Sad Bastards. I know. That's pretty bad. But I think that's part of the point. When we think about what we are worth and what we are willing to sell, it becomes a matter of risk and vulnerability. Giving up a pint of blood has minimal risk. Pulling out your heart is the maximum. Handing your emotional heart to someone runs great risks dependent on the nature of the person other than yourself. Allowing such access is the very essence of vulnerability. You either wake up in their arms, or you wake up in a bathtub filled with ice and instructions to call 911.
Sehr, sehr interessant. Sehr interessant.
Yes.
I like your take on it.
Well, thank you.
Like your take on the worthiness of the body, the worthiness of and tagging it with such a modern and American religious concept as the value of it in terms of money.
Yeah.
That's interesting. When you first started talking about it, the first thing that popped into my mind was it was some Latin American or South American country where this young woman was selling her virginity.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
And she was raising money for charity or something like that.
I was outbidded.
And it's just one of those things where you think there's a part of me that's just that is her right.
Sure.
Her to do that. That's
Absolutely.
her body. And if she wants to do that and she's an adult,
Right.
I don't necessarily think that I would feel good about that for somebody under the age of 18 or even 20 or 21 doing that. But women do mature faster, and so she might have been emotionally mature enough to understand that that was what she wanted to do.
Sure.
The fact that if I'm not misremembering, it was she was making a charitable donation or actually protesting something. Anyway, I have to look it up, but I'm not that interested, so I won't. But just the idea of selling something intimate and vulnerable like that, and seeing what the market value of that was in your community.
Right.
And the idea that our bodies can be Yeah, I mean, like, you took it to the literal extreme. Self-worth, the worth of the self. And we could spend a whole other podcast talking about the emotional aspect of that. Like, how do you determine your self-worth in terms of, like, what you're emotionally giving away?
Sure. Which, of course, time is money.
Yeah.
And that's the whole when I started planning out the essay and thinking about the topic and then trying to kind of figure it out.
You were kind of giddy with excitement about your idea a couple of days ago when I saw you. You were like, hee, it's going to be good.
I thought it was a really good idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea.
And looking it up and then, like, kind of reading some of those things and trying to relate it back to the fame type of thing. I didn't want to go back to the art and commerce thing because, after eviscerating Kesha, I really was kind of like, I'm just gonna
lay off famous people.
I'm gonna pull back on this one. I'm gonna chillax a little bit, if I can use the parlance of 19, or was it 2006? I think is when chillax came out. When did the first Twilight movie come out? You're a Twilight girl.
I am not a Twilight girl, and you should not be spreading that vicious rumor.
Okay.
Twilight is like...
She's on Team Edward.
No, I'm on Team Buffy, man. Oh. Buffy forever, because Buffy's the vampire story is about a girl, like, being powerful and ambitious and saving the world, and Twilight is about finding a boyfriend. Ugh.
Finding a boyfriend.
Oh my God, no. I don't know when that stupid movie came out. I've never seen any of them. I will hopefully never see any of them.
Okay.
Unless I get pulled into some kind of torture chamber and they're like, what can we use to torture Ellen Cherry?
Twilight.
Let's Clockwork Orange open her eyes and make her watch that trope.
Whoa.
Is trope the right word?
Yeah, probably more like tripe.
Tripe.
Tripe, pig intestines.
Ew, yeah, tripe. That's the word I meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
The idea was.
So yeah, you just want to chillax about. Kesha.
Yeah, about the fame stuff and or the art commerce thing, because it's kind of like it's almost. I mean, you can draw a straight line to it, but the thing I thought was really interesting was that the price for the transplant was so high because it meant so much to an individual person.
Yeah.
Whereas the exhibit was kind of like the public display of
the organ
of the organ, or of a freakishness part of nature, or something that just, wow, I can't believe is that real? Is that something true?
Yeah.
And which kind of, like, for me always feels like the display of pop music, or the display of, like, it's a public spectacle.
Yeah.
Rather than life-giving or whatever. But I think I had a hard time.
Nice. That's a nice actual relationship between. I like the relating that you did between those two things. Yeah.
Well, and I was having a hard time reconciling
what art is nourishing versus what is just spectacle.
But the thing, like, the comparison, the trouble with that argument kind of always comes back to the idea of I had a conversation many years ago with a friend of mine about bad music and bad art, and I think I had said something along the lines of, like, well, such and such person should never be allowed. They should be barred from a recording studio. Just stop it. And he said, well.
Oh wait, you have other friends? I thought you were talking about a conversation with me.
No, sadly.
I'm not a he. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have other friends, Ellen Cherry.
What?
And
stop that right now.
And he said, okay, I'll call up and cancel them all. The response was, well, bad music is like bad sex. It might be bad, but it's real to the people who are doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's a fair argument. But it doesn't change the fact that I think that they shouldn't be allowed in a recording studio. Because the difference is that recording studio is there to make it public. And they're having bad sex in their private, hopefully.
Yeah.
In their private area, in like a bedroom or something, or something closed off. Or
plus, like, also you have the autonomy for stopping that experience. Like, you could be like, I don't want to hear this music anymore, or participate in this bad sex.
Right. So, but that was kind of like, and I was having a hard time reconciling that between those two things. So that's why I went the route that I did. But I think it's really. It brings you back to the idea of a relationship as well, like our relationship with music, and our relationship with artists, and our relationship with as an artist to the people we put music out and hope that they listen to, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, if I take it on the very, very base level, is that there is an inherent vulnerability and great risk to your self-worth when you do that. When you put out a record and you're like, yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna put it here and we'll see what happens, and either caring or not caring, or developing the coping skills when somebody is like, yeah, well, that kind of sucks. It's like the guy in the Netherlands who's like, yeah, I really like that band except for his voice. I'm like, you're gonna hate that next record because I'm singing on it.
Because it's got my voice all over it.
Well, I'm gonna send you a copy, a special edition. Hey, is this better for you? I don't know.
With the compressor on your voice, so it's super loud in the mix.
Yeah.
Or it's just the vocals. It's not anything else.
It's isolated vocals. That's awesome. And then like for the music, I'll just be humming in the background. Take that, you Netherland Well, I mean, I don't mind if we have them over here for like immigration and stuff. the Dutch and the Norwegians.
Don't go down that path.
Okay.
We don't have time today.
We don't. We do not have time.
And everyone should be welcome.
Yes.
Because your birth is a lottery.
It is. I won a birth lotto.
Yeah.
Booyah!
Me too. And I feel like it's not fair for us to discriminate people who genuinely did not win that birth lottery and still deserve opportunities. Everyone,
that is correct.
Yeah, everyone.
I agree.
So, like, that's what this country is about. Everybody.
It's about everybody. That's right.
It's about everybody, not just you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God bless America.
Hey, so we're on a time limit today. Which song should we listen to?
Oh, you already picked it out. Why are you're acting like this isn't like...
I don't want to say the title.
Okay.
Because I want the listeners to be so happily surprised by the title of the song is at the very end. This is mostly an instrumental track by a Baltimore dude named Joe Keys and his Late Bloomer band.
Yep.
I had first seen them at the Wind-Up Space a couple months ago when they were doing a show with Angelo Moore from Fishbone.
Oh, I did sound to that one.
You did sound for that show.
That's when I first saw them.
And I'd heard of them before that, about a year before I'd heard this record, and then went and saw the show live and was reminded of Joe Keys's just great stage presence. He works with the young musicians. He's a funk guy, plays funk music, and he's just really fun to watch. His band is really cool, and it's got kids that are learning in it, and he's a mentor towards them, and that they play really well. Yep. And the songwriting is frequently very, very humorous and poignant. And this song just was playful, and it struck me, and I listened to it a lot. And when I was listening to it on the drive out here, and I was like, this is perfect, but I don't want to say
this is perfect
the title of the song because
I'm Mel and Jerry. I make all the right decisions.
It's yeah, right. It's humorous.
I'm the soul of this podcast.
I think you will enjoy it.
Okay, here we go. Joe Keys and the Unnamed Song. Wow.
So the title of that song is Stink Bug in My Brownie.
Well, it's not Mouse is looking to jump over on the table.
Don't jump, Mousy. Here's a little toy for you. Wink. He's like, I'm not interested in that toy.
I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in getting over to that table.
With peanut butter and crackers. That was Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band and their song Stink Bug in My Brownie, which if you are not in Maryland, I don't know if they have stink bugs in other states, but like I had never experienced a stink bug in Texas.
No.
Nope. Don't have those in Texas.
We got them over in Dundalk.
Yeah. And so stink bugs are they are going to survive. Their theme song is I Will Survive. Because you can smash them, you can squish them, you can scold them.
Damn you, stink bug.
You can try to keep them out of your house. It doesn't matter. They will find a way in.
And they will nestle in your brownies.
They nestle in your brownies. The only way that I have found to get rid of them is you have to flush them.
Oh, yeah.
And you should pee on them first.
Whoa, man.
To neutralize them.
That doesn't neutralize them.
It's their kryptonite.
Okay.
Trust me, in my loneliness, I've experimented. There was an insect inside my house yesterday, sitting on the radiator, just like hanging out, getting warm. And I was like, I am almighty. I will kill you. It wasn't a stink bug, though. So I let it be.
You let it be?
Yeah.
Was it a ladybug?
Just like the Beatles would do.
Oh, yeah. Are they still around, the Beatles?
I think they're going to be hits.
I feel like they're still around no matter where I go.
They are.
There are the Beatles. There's Peter, Paul, and Ringo. There's a really good line from John Nolan who says, it's like robbing Ringo to pay Paul. Talking about the music industry.
We should feature a Say Zulu song on this podcast.
Yeah.
Or a John
Murphy.
Nolan song.
Cliff Murphy song.
Yeah, we should do a Cliff Murphy song. We should do a John Nolan song. Because he has some really, really good ones on that When the Summer Lasted So Long album. So, I liked the song. What did you think?
I like this song too. I mean, funk is not my best thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I appreciate it for what it is. And I really like, listen to what are you doing?
I'm funking my shoulders. This is called funking your shoulders.
Huh.
It's a good way to loosen up your shoulders, man.
Man. It kind of reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where
it's like you're doing the wave with your shoulders.
When the Carneys come and live in Homer's house and the
always with the Simpsons, man.
That's a funny episode.
Okay, go ahead.
But the Spud, the son of Cooter, is able to disjoint all of his bones and he starts wriggling around. That's exactly what you look like. I'll find a picture of it. I'll find a gif of it. And
okay.
Like, oh my God, I'm Spud.
I'm Spud.
Spud Cherry.
It's a fun song. It is a fun song.
Well, I like the bass. I mean, I really enjoy like listening to songs and seeing what the bass is going to do, and then how everything complements each other. Just kind of like, I have a hard time with the whole idea of like, oh yeah, man, you got to get in the pocket, and then you got to get deep down in the dirt. It's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. You're like, no, I don't want to be dirty.
I'm not.
I don't actually want to smell funky.
I need you to separate funk and spunk for me, please.
Gross. I wish the word spunk just meant like she's spunky.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that way.
It does not.
Doesn't mean that anymore.
No.
So let's wrap up because unfortunately I have to go do some stuff.
Oh man. Ellen Cherry, Woman on the Go.
Yeah. Money. Gotta go work. It's not like exciting work. I have to go
hard for her money.
I'm cleaning up a basement in Federal Hill that's full of mud because of a busted frozen water pipe.
And 60 degrees. I'll take it. It's 60 degrees. I'll take it.
Oh God. So
yeah, the tour.
Mm-hmm. We are working on a show in Dallas, possibly a corporate lunch gig, which would be super awesome because of money. We just confirmed a gig at the Assorted Table Wine Shop at the 7th Street Market on Tuesday, March 20th. We'll be playing probably during their happy hour wine flight.
Which is cool, which leaves Monday open. We got to figure out Monday.
Okay. Both Mondays, actually.
Both Mondays, yeah. We got to figure out St. Louis.
Yeah.
And what's after St. Louis?
Tulsa, which does not happen, and I think I should look elsewhere in Oklahoma.
Okay. So,
sort of disappointing. But where can we find you on the webs?
You can find me at junestar.com, junestar.com. And then you could also find me at junestar.bandcamp.com. And you can subscribe to my subscription service. I got another subscriber this week. Booyah!
Congratulations.
Papa Chow, as the email tells me.
Nice.
$5 a month gets you everything I ever do, plus a weekly song updated. This year are all the public domain songs, which are desperately getting boring to me because they're all 12-bar blues.
And they're all about killing women who wouldn't marry you.
They are all about killing women. Yeah, this guy pushed her in where she would drown, and then I watched her as she floated down.
All because she said no to a marriage proposal.
Well, ladies, let me just give you some advice.
Laugh more.
laugh more, and when a white male asks you to marry them, you say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
What higher privilege is there than to marry a white male?
I don't know what shithole country you're used to.
Texas.
But, yeah. Anyhow, Ellen Cherry, where would we find you if we were, looking for the worth of, body parts?
I have an inventory on my body parts page, how much all of my body parts are worth at sale or for exhibit at ellencherry.com. ELLENTHERRY.com. And then you can go to ellencherry.bandcamp.com, and I've been formulating my next subscription song as well.
Oh, yeah?
As well as my next audio essay, because I've been doing audio essays for centered around that car wreck, and I'm working on that too, letting go of stuff.
Oh.
The theme is letting go.
You gotta let go, girl.
Detachment.
You have to learn how to fly. You gotta flap those wings.
Yeah. Because I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I know.
Who sang it? Was that Kanye West who sang that?
No, it was R. Kelly.
Who's that?
He's a pisher.
Oh. I don't know what it means.
He's internet famous for something really gross.
Huh?
And also famous for the fact that he's a good R&B voice, but let's not talk about him too much. It was super fun to do this podcast today.
Don't we call him Aunt Kelly now? No. Okay,
Yeah.
Anyhow, yes. It was super fun. I had the time of my life. I laughed, I cried.
I had the time of my life.
I was just dirty dancing.
So the zibba zibba zabba doo.
Okay, Anthony Kiedis is singing it.
Zibba. That's your Bob Dylan doing Anthony Kiedis. Give it away, give it away, give it away now. Give it away, give it away. That's what this podcast should be, is us
Just
like trying to
for an
do.
hour.
Trying to do ridiculous mashup voices. Oh man.
No. Well, what are you gonna do? No.
I don't know, just do the work.
I got peanut butter on the roof of my mouth.
Woof.
Roof of my mouth.
So friends, thanks for listening all the way to the end. We'll
Yeah.
see you next week.
Next week, man.
See ya.
Later.
Bye. I have to pee. Woo.